show you this slide just to kind of give you a little bit of an indication of when we talk about pork quality, there are a lot of factors that go into it. And there's a lot of places along the chain of pork production where quality can be compromised. Okay? So we start up here with genetics. And Tina said it very well. If you don't have the genetics to produce a high quality pork product to start, there's not a whole lot you're going to be able to do to achieve that. But conversely, if you do have the genetics to produce that high quality pork and you don't manage it through nutrition and you don't manage it through the production on the farm, you're still not going to produce a high quality pork product.
My mother and father were both teachers, so there's probably a genetic component to me being in the education field there. So my dad was a high school math teacher, my mom was an elementary school teacher, so I grew up around teaching. I enjoy interacting with people, interacting with students, and helping people learn. It's fun. I grew up in South Florida, and in Florida we didn't have a commercial swine operations in that part of the state, but we had a lot of beef cattle. And so growing up, we had a family farm, about 200, 250 mama cows there. And so I learned a lot about agriculture, a lot about farming, a lot about hard work and good work ethic there. I did not realize at the time, but it was really an investment by my parents into me, giving me the opportunity to learn and to work hard and to develop and grow as a young man. So started off actually thinking like a lot of high school graduates do. I was thinking about money. And so I started off my college career as an engineer, but I decided very quickly, based on my history, that I did not want to spend my life in an office. And so I got exposed to the animal science field and decided that that was an area that I had a background in, I had a passion for. And so I began pursuing that undergraduate career, and it just kind of morphed into continuing on into a master's program and into a PhD program. Some of the work I've done, and I've done quite a bit in both beef and pork. Some of the early work I did focused on beef cattle and how we can improve the consistency and tenderness. And so we were looking at different breed types that predominated in the southeastern United States. So some Brahman influenced cattle. They have traditionally been known to have lower quality meat than Angus and British types of cattle. And so we went in and did some work trying to understand why that was occurring, and also validating and verifying some of the other findings that said if you have a low percentage of Brahman, that you can still produce a very high quality product. And so that was what we spent some early time doing. Since then, I've been doing some pork quality work. I've been doing some work looking at quality in bacon as well. So that's where I spent quite a bit of my time. Well, really, if you think about the meats industry and really any food industry, it all boils down to the consumer. If we can produce what we call a high quality, high value, nutritious product, but if the consumer doesn't like it and doesn't buy it, then we've spent a lot of time for nothing. So we really have to focus on the consumer, and that's some of the things that we've tried to do. The consumer has several factors that figure into their eating experience. The biggest one, the research says, is tenderness. After that would be flavor and juiciness. And so we focused on those aspects of the product, both beef and pork, to try to ensure that the consumer has an outstanding experience, because we know that when the consumer makes their first purchase decision, they really don't know about the eating experience that they're going to have from that product. So they base it mainly on what they see. But the second purchase, the repurchase process, is all about the eating experience. And so we've got to make sure that we have a product that's very eye appealing to get it out of the case the first time, but we also have to have a very good eating experience. It has to be tender and juicy and flavorful in order for them to have that appealing experience as they eat that product in order for them to come back. I think the big thing is for them to communicate, develop relationships with that consumer, and to learn what they want, and then to communicate back up the chain to the producers as to what they need to be producing in order to meet the consumer demands. Like I said before, if we produce a product that doesn't meet the consumer's demands, then we're not going to be successful. And the communication up and down that production chain is so important because the consumers change. We talked about it in our programming today that our younger consumers are different than our older consumers, and so we need to keep the communication up and down the line, up and down the production chain, so that we can make for today's consumers what they want, as well as tomorrow's consumers what they want, and provide them with a high quality, safe, nutritious, high quality eating experience.
You can see we're breaking down the pig, and we start with the foot area. So on the front foot, you can see he trims this back pretty deep. These are great because they have a lot of cartilage in them, all right, same as the pigtails. So a lot of the meat culture is the same with the pigtail as well. So you can cook these probably in a similar fashion. The other thing they do is because it has that cartilage is it's great for stocks and creating the ham broth, all right? So if you're making a ham stock or a ham broth or any type of thing like that, it's really great for that kind of thing.
I became a chef for my love of food. Like I'm from the South, which is a big food area in the United States, and I really love to cook, make people happy and see their faces after they eat. And I've been doing it 25 years. All my restaurants kind of revolve around Southern cooking of the United States. So I have Lily's Q, which is an upscale barbecue restaurant. Dixie, which is a Southern restaurant that has Southern inspired food. It's not traditional Southern food, but it's more inspired from Southern ingredients and things that we find from the South. And then LQ Chicken Shack was a fried chicken restaurant. And then also 1952 and a half, which is a cocktail bar based off bourbon, which is the main liquor that we make in the South. I sort of cook whatever I want to cook. I don't really worry about the customers. They're going to come and eat, probably they want to eat from my food, so I just cook what I fall in love with, and hopefully they enjoy it, which usually they do, hopefully, because they can continue to come back. So my focus is more cooking the things that I want to cook, and then giving that experience to my guests. The main reason I came here was I wanted to educate grocery store buyers and chefs and just normal people on pork. I mean, pork is something that I hold dear to my heart. I cook a lot of pork. I really enjoy cooking pork. It's something that I think in Jamaica we can continue to educate people of what quality pork is, where to get quality pork, what to look for to find quality pork, and then it'll make their experience eating pork better, which means they'll want to eat more pork. So it's really just to focus on how we can get people to eat more pork at the end of the day. We'll go through and describe how you cook every piece of the animal, from the head to the tail to the foot. I think a big thing about utilizing pork is utilize all the pieces of pork and showing people ways to use every piece, from the bones to the tail to the head to the ears. And we want people to utilize the whole thing because obviously we take these animals very special to us. We spend a lot of time raising them and feeding them properly, and then we want to use the whole animal. We try to choose things that we think we can make a quality ingredient out of or a quality dish out of, and we also try to find the quality pork that we want, which is color, marbling, and those sort of things. And we incorporate that in dishes of things that we think the guests will want to eat. We really try and push the guest limits sometimes too. So we'll have normal things on the menu like a pork chop, but then we'll also push things like pig ears. And if we can get people to try things, I think they're going to enjoy them, and then they'll continue to eat different parts of the pig. Get out there, find quality pork, and start to taste it and try it. I don't think anything's going to happen to you, right? It's just getting those experiences down and trying those things, and then really trying the pieces that maybe you haven't tried before. So if someone's offering a pig ear on a dish, try that dish. If someone's offering a pig jowl, which is the cheek, please go out and try it and really push your limits and see what you like and what you don't like, and then continue to educate your friends and family on those things that you had as well. So the piece of pork loin obviously is like a very somewhat lean piece of meat. So what I did last night was I brined it. So I took water, salt, sugar in a certain ratio, and you can look up ratios, all sorts of ratios. You can put anything you want in a brine, maple syrup, any type of sugar, sugar cane, jerk seasoning, anything you want to brine meat in. And basically what happens with a brine is
the salt and sugar help penetrate the meat and help keep it moist. Even if you cook it farther like you do in Jamaica. You know how people in Jamaica like their stuff a little bit farther? So it helps keep that moist longer and keep the moisture in the pork by brining. So I brined it last night, then I did a simple tie, and you can see on this one where you kind of do little circles all the way around. What that does is obviously, like I said, keep the evenness, and the cooking method keeps it cooking the same temperature all the way through. And then I did just a simple salt, pepper, and garlic powder rub. Something real simple for you guys to taste. That way you can taste the pork, right? As much as you cook pork and flavor pork, you still want them to taste what the pork tastes like, right? What the pig tastes like. So it's just super simple method with the pork loin. Last time I came here, I cooked a whole pig's head, kind of took off the face and everything. That was real unctuous meat. This is more your home meat, more your nightly cook. A roast like this, I cooked this about 40 minutes. So not very long, doesn't take a long time. Easy to tie up and easy to season, right? It's just stuff you basically had around your house. So you can see some of the liquid that still was here with the juice. That's obviously good to dip the pork in. And then you can see, even though it's cooked all the way, it's still moisture coming out of the inside, right? That's what the brine helps do. It allows you to cook meat a little bit farther, but also keep it much more moist.